What do you think of when you think of 99?
Was there a song by Toto? Something about 99, 99 Left Balloons by Nina?
There you go.
Yeah. 99 is one away from the century mark. Oh,
Um,
Aaron Judge.
one 99, one of the agents in Get Smart.
Oh, that's right. I believe
Um,
so. Yes. That was
99.
Barbara Feldon.
Yeah. Betty White lived to be 99.
Betty White.
And this is our
Uh,
99th episode. And unlike
Yay!
Betty White, we're not going to die before 100th.
Well, I'm
I
not so
want to have
sure,
a
but
heart
we'll see.
attack.
We'll see. We don't want to push our luck.
Oh, all right. Well, let's get the housework done. Please like us on Facebook. You can contact us through one card, one cup, one beer at gmail.com. Those of you who are watching on the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button so you can have our information as soon as we drop it. If you want to support us through Patreon, just go to patreon.com, search for one cardinal, one cup, and one beer, and you can support our efforts, and that is greatly appreciated. If you would like to be a contestant on one of our trivia contests, a guest on a panel, if you have an interesting baseball related topic that you are educated on, if you just look good in your Chicago Cubs jersey and want to be on, let us know. We love to
Please.
put our friends on the podcast. So, JJ, how are you doing?
Hey, Vince, I always say this really good, but I had a great weekend this weekend. We went down to Springfield and saw the Springfield Cardinals last Saturday night game of the season. They're getting ready for the playoffs. And the double A ball, they were playing the Northwest Arkansas Naturals. Got to see a lot of the young players, although I noticed there was a few 26, 27 year olds. And to be honest, it's kind of sad, but when you're 26, 27 and you're double A, your days might be numbered. But they're playing really good this year. Uh, Got to go to Hammond Field. A lot of things going on that day. They had a Scott Rowland bobblehead day. And there's old Scott Rowland right there. And I'll show you the bobblehead. It's him throwing from, he's on his bottom there and he's throwing across the diamond. I'm sure to get an out. So there's old Scott Rowland right there. It also was uh, you bid on uniforms, and the players would meet you on the field, take off their jersey, sign it, and give it to the fans. And I've seen a lot of them take bats out and take pictures. It was pretty darn cool with the fans and raised a lot of money for cancer research. Then they had a big firework display, and it was pretty cool. It started out with Prince, Let's Go Crazy with the whole, dearly beloved, we are gathered here today. And then this it was like a 25-minute fireworks show. It was pretty cool. The Redbirds lost to the Naturals 6-3, but they're getting ready for the playoffs. I saw a lot of talented young players making some diving catches, a few home runs, some stolen bases. Saw this Heredia throwing about 97 miles an hour. Had a little control problems, but looked pretty good. So if you get a chance, go down and just support minor league baseball, any team. But the Springfield Cardinals are close, and we like going down to Springfield and going to Bucky's and Whataburger and all that kind of stuff down there.
Hmm, cool.
Pretty cool.
You want to hear something pretty neat?
Yeah, sure.
My daughter Rebecca, she got her undergraduate degree and her graduate degree from Missouri State, so she was in Springfield, and she's getting her doctorate in Memphis, where the AAA team is. So
I'll be darned.
I guess he's
Hey,
following them around.
that's right. And eventually she'll be in St. Louis, I guess.
Eventually, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think mom would really like it if she settled down in St. Louis, but
Oh,
who
that'd be
knows? Who
cool.
knows? Who knows? So JJ, I have
Oh,
another obscure beer.
a beer corner it is.
Look at this. Haas
Oh,
Oktoberfest Lager. And look at the
wow.
guy with the axe. Is
Uh,
that not the toughest thing you've ever seen?
That's pretty darn tough right there. It looked like Negan or something like that going on back there.
Yeah. Well, what I like, I don't know if you can see, he's actually got a pipe hanging out of his mouth too.
Oh, now I see that. Yes, sir. Yeah, chopping wood and smoking a pipe.
Yeah, this is put out by a company called Great Divide. In the late 80s, Brian Dunn spent 5 years abroad, building farms in developing countries, cultivating his passion for beer. Upon returning to Colorado, he began homebrewing and pursued graduate studies. In 1993, in a nascent Denver beer scene, he embarked on founding what would become one of America's most acclaimed craft breweries, Great Divide, which I'd never heard of until I bought this beer. Anyway, starting with a marketing study and a business plan, he seized an opportunity in Denver's emerging ballpark neighborhood where the stadium is for the Rockies, the double A team. That was me. That was me. Took a jab at the Rockies, okay.
Oh.
Um, with financial support from family, friends, and a loan from the city of Denver, his dream of commercial brewing became a reality in 1994. Uh, Haas is based on the Meritz lagers of Germany. Rich layered malt flavors with hints of cherry and dark fruit dominate, while the unique addition of rye imparts an earthy, spicy character. Haas finish crisp and dry, and its brilliant red-orange color is a toast to the sunsets that make the perfect backdrop for this beer. This is a Oktoberfest lager, so it is a seasonal beer. They only put it out in like August through October. And you can tell it's a craft beer because the label is not a part of the can. I mean,
Okay.
I could peel that off if I was more of a man, but I'm not.
You
So
might, after drinking this, you might want to chop some wood.
yeah, I got plenty of wood I need to chop in the yard. You know what mimosas are?
Oh, it's some sort of champagne and orange juice, isn't it, or something like that?
Oh, not the drink. I'm talking about the tree, the mimosa.
Oh, yes. I can't tell you a lot about it, but yeah, I know what they
I
are.
can tell you this: they are the weeds of the tree
World.
world. Yeah, they
Mm.
you plant one in your yard. Next thing you know, you've got them sprouting everywhere. You can't keep up with them, and that's what we're dealing with. I actually cut wood today. I cut some of those mimosas saplings out of the yard. But anyway, look at this. Isn't that a beautiful head?
Oh, yeah. Look
And
at that.
you can see that dark, uh, like reddish tint that they were
Cherry.
talking about. Yeah. And I am once again drinking out of the world's greatest grandpa mug.
There
Um,
you go. You heard it here first.
yeah, that I stole from some kid's grandpa. So let's see what we got here.
All right. But hair on your chest. Oh, smiling. He's smiling. That's at least one star right there.
This is a 4.5. This is really good.
Oh, that's really good stuff. Hey, all
Yes.
right.
Yes,
How
I,
about
I
that?
I thought I would like it better than because I've had ales lately, and this is a lager, and I like lagers better. But this doesn't taste like an American lager. It is smooth like a lager, but you could tell that they've got the infused fruit in it that makes it it has a really cool flavor to it.
I'll be darned.
Very smooth
Uh,
going down.
it
So
it looks like you could enjoy that with maybe a hungry man dinner. You know what I mean? Remember the hungry man dinner? Yeah. And wipe it with brawny and have some brawny towels. Wipe everything up.
there you go, man.
Yeah.
This is a manly beer. I have no business drinking this.
No, no,
I
no.
twice in my life I have been on dates with women who have asked me, "Are you sure you're not gay?" Twice that's happened to me. Not only that,
Did you cry? Were you crying?
I thought it was kind of funny. Not only that, twice in my life I have been picked up by men, attempted to pick up by men.
Okay.
Um, the second time was really funny because um, I was living in Collinsville, and then there was a bar in Collinsville where I would go eat, and it was I think it was the night of the uh, not the final game, but the final four.
Okay.
That Saturday before the Monday.
March.
And I was sitting there, I was watching basketball while I was eating, and this guy sits next to me, and we're talking. And he's in town with a postcard convention at the Gateway Center in Collinsville. We're having a good time talking about basketball. So I said, "Well, I need to leave." So I'm getting up. He said, "Hey, wanna come by and hang out or something?" And you're in a hotel. Oh, no, thank you. So
Yes. Well, you know what? I think that I don't get picked up by anybody. So, at least the offer would be nice. But no, nobody's interested.
the first time it happened, I was with a date and we were at a place and there was a lot of dancing going on. And this guy, I was like, I don't know, my late 30s, this guy who was about 25 starts dancing right there for me. I mean, like the come hither type dancing. And and I'm there with a date and she looks at me, she says, "Is there something you need to tell me?" I thought you're just jealous because you can't
Man,
get
look
a
at,
guy this hot.
yeah, look out.
All right. What's going on with the fantasy World Series here?
Oh, Vince, we're 2.5 weeks away from the end of the season. Not every day there'll be a game. We're seeing a lot more day offs. Last week, when we left everybody, the Padres had pulled the head 2-0. And remember, you get a point, you get a run when you win a game. So the Padres were up 2-0 last Tuesday. Well, tonight, going into this Tuesday, it's 4-4. Padres four. Yes, we've got ourselves a game with 2.5 weeks to go. Kansas City has gotten hot. The Padres have been playing good ball, but just losing. And here's what the schedule looks like for the next week of the weekend with 2.5 weeks to go. The Padres will be at Seattle and at San Francisco. So Seattle's playing for their playoff lives, and they've gotten hot lately too and making a run for the playoffs. And San Francisco would like nothing better than to beat San Diego. So they've got a tough schedule ahead of them this week, but they are a very good team. And Kansas City are at the New York Yankees, which is always tough for anybody. I know that's always tough for anybody to play. And then they're at Pittsburgh, but there is no this time of year. You're a lot of these teams that are out of it are bringing up young players, and these guys are wanting to show the world that they belong. So, and you have no history. You don't know what much about these young players. So there could be some major upsets down the stretch here. So anyway, Padres, Kansas City, 2.5 weeks to go, and they're tied 4-4, and it's getting good, Vince. Getting real good.
Very good. That's awesome. Oh, we the last two of the last 3 weeks we have talked about the sixth inning pitcher rule. I don't know what else to call it that they're kind of kicking around. Did you see that Justin Verlander came out and he is completely for it?
Oh, really? No, no, I hadn't heard
Yes.
that.
Yes, he wants pitchers to learn how to pitch, to stretch themselves out. Um, that there's no reason for all these quick hooks and pitching changes if pitchers learn how to pitch. Wow,
That's a big
that's a
endorsement.
strong voice in the room. So um, I thought that I didn't think any player, any modern baseball player, any modern since the 1900s, any current baseball player would come out so strongly for it. Um, but he did, and I mean, he's from that bygone era where you're expected to pitch past the sixth inning, and I thought that was kind of cool. So I still don't know if that what the answer is. If that's the answer, I just know that something has to be done, and I'm
Yeah,
not smart enough to figure it out. So
I do like. I hope that pitchers go 6 and 7 innings. That would be nice. I always think of the. I mean, and I know when Ray was saying he agree with Verlander. There's young players that maybe have only pitched like 120 innings in their longest most in a season, and pushing those guys late. I don't remember they set down Strasburg and Skeens. I think they're really watching his inning count. I don't know. There's got to be a caveat for these young guys and pushing them innings because I know the fans still want to see him, but sometimes they shut them down after like 4.5, 5 innings. But baseball figure it out.
yeah,
It'll work.
part of the problem is the minor league system because because the way the schedule works in the minors, you pitch once a week, and they have more days off, and you pitch once a week. Because you're in the minors, they do a quick hook on starting pitching because they have other pitchers that they need to see. Because yeah, you're trying to win, so on and so forth, but the main goal in minor league baseball is to see what you got and who's ready for the majors. So you'll have pitchers who throw 80 pitches in 4 innings, doing fine, and they'll take them out because they want to see Ben Brown pitch a couple innings and see what he's got. And so when they get to the majors, they're pitching on fewer days rest than what they're used to. And not only are they pitching on fewer days rest, they're no longer like you don't have to see what's in the bullpen. You know what's in the bullpen.
Yes.
Um, so if you pitch 120 innings in the minors, that's quite a bit. Uh,
Yes.
and then you go to the MLB and you're expected to pitch maybe 140, 160, 180, and that's a pretty big jump. So I don't know what the answer is. I just know that there's some systematic issues there that feed into why pitchers are not used to going longer. And then when they get to the majors, it is a different animal than what they were experiencing in the minors. I kind of liken it to this whenever I played basketball, very poorly, I may add, when I was
I
in
was
middle
terrible.
school. Um, we would have scrimmages and we wouldn't keep score. We would just, because the coach wanted to see who can I put in the game who was going to actually contribute. And the minor leagues is like scrimmages. Yeah, we keep score. Yeah, we're first place and won a championship and everything. But uh, the way just the nature of the beast is, it's more or less a scrimmage to see what you got because the ultimate goal is to get to the big leagues and win that championship. So, oh, well,
Vince, speaking of that, I don't know if you heard about this, and I can't think of the player's name, which really hurts the discussion. But there's a lot of pitchers now. They're bringing in when a game's a blowout, they're bringing in position players to play to pitch. I know the last season of Molina and Pujols, they got to pitch. I think Pujols might pitch 2 innings, and Yachty 1 inning. But some teams have a guy who throws a knuckleball or like a lob pitch or something. Well, Tampa Bay's got this guy. He's like a fourth outfielder, and he's not a bad pitcher. But they found out he could throw 94 miles an hour, and he mixes it up really good. And
oh,
they're thinking about turning him into a pitcher. He was the kid that got the big hit in the World Series, was running around like an airplane. He's kind of an odd duck, they were saying, but they think this guy could be a reliever of some sorts. So that's a story to
wow.
wait for because he's never really broke into be a regular in the big leagues yet. But if he could play outfield and be like a reliever occasionally, that'd be pretty cool. So I don't mind when position players come in because sometimes it's kind of an event. The game's 10-0 anyway, or and the game's kind of out of hand, and you get to see something you never would have seen. And usually, if a position player can strike out a real hitter in the big leagues, that's kind of a big deal. It's like hey, take that. So I don't mind it
Remember
too much.
about 5, 6 years ago when Anthony Rizzo was with the Cubs. He faced Freddie Freeman, and they're pretty good friends. And Freddie Freeman just does not strike out that much.
No.
He's a contact hitter with power, and Rizzo struck him out.
Oh, that's one he's going to never let him live down. Vince, speaking of when you said Mark Grace and he said I meant Anthony Rizzo, I for some reason I get those two guys confused. I was doing an immaculate grid the other day, and the answer was Rizzo, but I put Grace, and I messed up the whole thing. It was because I got those two confused. So I get Rizzo and Grace a little confused sometimes. I know it was years apart they played, but to me they kind of look similar, and they both were very good players. So I get them confused. So when you said that, that reminded me of me getting them confused as well.
Boy, the Cubs have had some great first basemen. They went from um, oh gosh, we can go back to Bill Buckner when he played first base for the Cubs
Love
was
them.
was a great first baseman, really good contact hitter, and then they had Leon Durham. Then they
Love
went to
Durham.
Mark Grace. Both of them were all stars, as was Buckner an all star. And then after after Grace, they had a few years where it was like, oh, what's his name? The good-looking guy from the Dodgers
Like
played
Mike
first.
Marshall,
Nah, not Marshall. Uh,
Karros, Eric
yeah, Eric
Karros.
Karros played there for a while. Then they had Derek Lee, and then
Oh yeah, Derek
and then
Lee.
after he retired a few years later, they had Rizzo, and yeah, they've had some pretty good first
They
basemen.
have.
All of them have been all stars. Not Karros because he was kind of past his prime, but Karros was the first baseman on that 2003 team that was five outs for the World Series that we've talked about way too much on this thing. So the Clemente Award finalists have been announced, and Goldschmidt and Wisdom from the Cards and the Cubs have been nominated. Very good, and kind of hope Patrick wins it because this maybe is like his last year with the Cubs. I don't see him with a future with the Cubs. It may be his last year in the majors. I don't know if anybody is looking
Could
for a
be.
200 hitter. I don't know. Um, so did Goldschmidt win it one year?
Yeah, Goldschmidt has won it already, and he does a lot of good work in the community. I don't know if there's ever been a two-time winner, and I don't know who's ahead and who does all what, but I just hear so many good things out in the community with all these players doing things, and yeah, it'd be great if Wisdom win it. That's a big award and a lot of. I know Albert Pujols said that was one of the greatest awards he ever was bestowed on him was the Roberto Clemente Award. So
Yeah, Rizzo won it one year, and he's this means more to me than anything else I've ever done. Uh,
pretty cool.
because I'm giving back, and I know players don't do it for recognition. And if you have a roster of on your 40 man roster, you've probably got 25, 30 people who have their own charities that they're doing and participating in. Um, and even like some of the young guys who've signed these huge contracts, big signing bonuses coming out of college, they've already started their foundations well before they get to the majors. So um, I do like to see that they are active in the community and um, mindful of issues that they can
Oh
certainly help
yeah,
with.
I think it's fantastic, and right now they're Major League Baseball players, so they can draw a lot of attention to these causes and things like that, and uh, I think it's fantastic. I know I'm not familiar with all these other teams and what all they do, but I know a lot of the Cardinals are out. I worked at Ponybird for 30 years, and Matt Carpenter just showed up one Saturday and they knew he was coming because he called, and they took him on a tour, and he met everybody, and it wasn't in the papers or nothing like that. I only know that because I worked there, but that's just so cool that they do stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I have seen this meme a couple of times over the last 2 days, and our friends at a Boys Dream Hobby Shop also shared this. I don't know if this is true, but it is intriguing. And the meme says that Judge, Aaron Judge has 51 home runs right now. Bobby Witt Jr. has 30. That if Judge played his games in Kansas City and then Witt played his games in New York, they would both be at 38 home runs.
Whoa, they've
If
been
that's
measuring the home
true,
runs.
if that's
Yeah.
true, yeah, ballparks matter.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And when they built that new Yankee Stadium, um, and you had these players, both right-handers and left-handers, shooting for that right center field alley because there's a jet stream that just carries the ball out. It's not fair. I shouldn't
No,
say that, but it's an advantage for the ballpark.
they're padding their stats
Yeah.
up there.
So
Oh, definitely.
um,
Well, speaking of a Boys Dreams Hobby Shop, I don't know if you saw this, Vince. We got so much stuff going on down there. I've been talking to them, and they've been having these card opening things on Facebook. I always buy me some spots and try to, be a part of it and everything. But they've got some signings coming up, and of course, October 12th, this weekend, David Freeze is there from 4:30 to 6. That's the time that's the last times I've seen put out. It's David Freeze this weekend, October 12th, 4:30 to 6. I've got me about 4 cards I'm going to get signed and just get there early because the crowd, each time they've had a player, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So Freeze is this month. In November, we talked about it. Jose Casenko is coming, and that's November 9th, 11 to 2. And I've got me a mini batting helmet. I'm going to have him sign the bill. And I got one of those refractor cards I'm excited about. Get him signed that. But in December, they just announced. I'm excited about this. The player I've got one card signed by him. December 7th from 1 to 3. Ray Langford. I think the best Cardinal of the 90s myself will be down there signing autographs. So come on down, have a good time. They'll take care of you. And, get there early, though, because the lines can get long there. And I'm excited about this, them bringing players in for things like this. So I thought I'd just give them a shout out with all the things they got going on in the store.
Very cool. Very cool. Oh, I was privy to a discussion where someone was saying that they were making a point that Francisco Lindor should be the National League MVP because if you take Lindor off the Mets, then they're not even in the playoff picture. And that you take Ohtani off the Dodgers are still gonna win 90 plus games. Okay, I can buy that. My issue is there is no criteria for MVP. It doesn't say the MVP is the person who helps their team the most. They don't say that. It doesn't say you have to be on a playoff team. It doesn't say it's the best player in the league. I mean, it could be who the criteria is nebulous. It's like trying to grab mercury. You shouldn't grab mercury, by the way, it's poisonous. But when we were little and people
I ate a
would,
lot of tuna. I probably got some mercury in me.
we used to play with mercury a little bit, so then you couldn't catch it. We just had to,
Yeah, oh, that's right. It was in the thermometers.
yeah, and it did not affect me at all. So, but anyway, um, with that in mind, I thought outside the box. Who is another player besides Francisco Lindor that would be the catalyst for a team that should be weak? And I came up with Willy Adames. Where would the Brewers be without Willy Adames?
I say he's got a co-partner there that Contreras at catcher too. Them two have really been the middle of that lineup. Players have gotten hot and cold. Jackson Churios has come on of late. Hoskins was really hot in April and May, but Contreras, my goodness, the first half of the season was fantastic. But you're right, Adames and Contreras, fantastic. And I don't think the Brewers would be there. Peralta as well, the pitcher. Um, then yeah, I'm with you. And there's other good players on the Mets too, but Lindor stands out above all of them. I was thinking too, Manny Machado with the Padres. That guy, I've been looking at his stats, and this week I've really been studying him a lot, and he's playing Gold Glove defense over at third. Now it's tough to say because I don't see Hayes all the time. I see Arenado all the time,
That's because
but
Hayes is always injured.
is he hurt? Oh, but last year I believe he won the Gold
Yeah,
Glove.
he did.
But I didn't know he was that hurt this year. It's tough to keep up with all of them. But Machado is just something special. I'm trying to think of other teams that's kind of in it. Bobby Witt
Bobby
Jr.
Witt Jr. is the obvious one. So
Yeah,
I didn't want to kind of go there, but
yeah, but he's kind of holding. And well, Perez has had like a renaissance. He's come on. Salvador Perez is having a very, very good year. He's always good, but this year he's been like extra good. I'm just trying to think of the guys on the bubbles. Atlanta's had so many injuries. I don't know if there's one guy pulling them along or not, but yeah, I don't know who that would be. But you're right, Vince. as far as the MVP goes, it's nothing written in stone. Like this is what the MVP is. Um, Usually it's a winning team, but there have been a few. I know Jeff Burrows of the Texas Rangers, I believe it was 1974, was the MVP, and he was on a losing team. But usually it's a
Andre
guy
Dawson won it in '87,
of
the
87.
last
Oh,
place team. So
oh yeah, what a year he had though. Yeah,
yeah,
Ozzie was kind of the closest person to him, and the Cardinals had a good year in '87. But yeah, the Hawk won it that year. But usually it's a winning team. But I don't know. There's so many gaudy numbers this year, Vince. Just off the top of my head, I'm thinking of teams that's kind of on the bubble there. Um, Man, Arizona. I don't know if there's a player that really stands out. That's a team effort there. I can't think
yeah.
of one guy that's really going to town. You know, hmm,
Yeah.
that's a tough one.
Well, Adames has 30 home runs, 101 RBIs, 803 OPS, which is really good, but it's not spectacular. It's not like Judge's uh, 1.1 something. He does have 18 stolen bases. He's not a great shortstop defensively, but he's a good shortstop defensively. But he's also the team leader. Um, he leads that team. So I was just thinking, okay, if we're going to think outside the box a little bit and we're going to go with a player who is maybe more valuable to their team, I would present an argument that Adames is more valuable to the Brewers than Lindor is to the Mets. Um,
Yeah, yeah, and man, the Brewers have got a heck of a record. Uh, oh, there was
yeah, the
somebody I
Brewers
just.
aren't the Mets. The Brewers are not trying to hold on to a wild card berth. The Brewers are actually trying to have the best record in the National League, which
We're almost there.
still makes my head spin. I just did
Oh
not
yeah.
see this coming. But
Well, you
next
look at
year,
the Phillies.
I will not be duped. Next year, I'm going to pick them first. That will ensure
Might
that
as
they
well.
last.
Let's put our mojo on them and then they'll finish. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll pick them first and they'll end as last. Oh man, I was thinking of Houston and some of those teams, and there's just no person that stands out. You're right, Adamas. I could say that as much as anybody. Maybe Gunnar Henderson from the Orioles has had a heck of a year.
Yeah, I think in
But
the American League, um, I think you got to give it to Judge.
yeah,
Um, Especially, I mean, he may have the triple crown numbers, whatever. Um, if I had a vote, I would go Judge number one, Witt number two, and probably Gunnar Henderson number three in the American League. In the
I,
National League, I would still put Otani number one. He's still one or two bases last night against the Cubs. He's gonna be 50-50. He should be 50-50. He should get the four more home runs and three more stolen bases. Um, 300 hitter. And I'm sick and tired of people saying, well, if David Ortiz didn't win an MVP as a DH, no
I,
DH should. Well, yeah, like it or not, DH is a position in Major League Baseball. It's like people who get mad when relief pitchers win an MVP. It's
well,
a
that's true.
position, and
Our Cy Young.
yeah. So there you go. But I really like um, Otani um, to win this thing, and I don't even think Lindor or Adamas is going to
Adamas.
be number two. Looking number two is Mookie Betts,
Oh
maybe
man, Mookie's
Machado.
great.
You know,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Speaking of Machado, go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say I have sinus drainage, so if I cough, forgive me.
It's been bad this year. I know we've got a lot of people in the hospital with pneumonia and stuff, and it's just a lot of pressure and congestion. A lot of it going on this time of year, weather changing and things like that. You mentioned Manny Machado, and I've been looking at stats a lot, Vince. And this guy, I don't know if you heard, but the reason it kind of brought his name up is Machado has just caught Nate Colbert for the most home runs in Padre history, 163. Now, I didn't think I to me, I always think of Manny Machado with the Orioles. Played a year with the Dodgers, and then he went over to the Padres. And I didn't think he'd been there that long. It just don't seem that long ago. But he's played 6 years with the Padres, seven with Baltimore, one with the Dodgers, and six with the Padres. And this guy has a six-time All-Star, two-time Gold Glove, a Silver Slugger, and he won a Platinum Glove. And the Cardinals just saw the Padres, and let me tell you, Manny Machado was playing some of the best third base I've ever seen. He was top notch. He's got a WAR of 57.3. He's at 1,882 hits, 338 home runs, and he's got a lifetime batting average of 279. Now, I know that's the big baseball card numbers and everything, but that's something. He's hanging in there and he's looking really good over his career. And tied with Nate Colbert already, who played a long time with the Padres. So here's the top 5 home run hitters. We're going to send the Padres a little love. So you got Manny and Colbert at 163. Then number 3 is Adrian Gonzalez with 161. Number 4, Phil Nevin. That's a name from the past there.
Oh yeah.
156 home runs. And in fifth place all time in Padre history, Dave Winfield. A lot of people forget Winfield was a Padre before he went over to the Yankees. And at number 10, I just threw this in. Tatis Jr.'s already got 120 home runs. So Machado might want to enjoy it while he can, because Tatis is coming fast. And he's got a long contract. It looks like if he can stay healthy, he's going to be, playing for the Padres for a long time. So anyway, I just thought I'd send Machado a little love out there because, man, this guy, he's so good, it just becomes the norm. But he's had great year after great year. So anyway, Manny
Boy,
Machado
that
there.
before the Padres built the new stadium when they were in the old place, and, Winfield would hit 20 home runs, and that would be like leading the team by 10.
That's
That
right. You're
place
right.
was so difficult to hit home runs in. And when Winfield went to the Yankees, it was like, oh yeah, now he could really get his career started, which he did,
Yes,
and
sir.
went all the way to the
Oh
Hall of
yeah.
Fame. So yeah, Nate
Speaking of
Colbert.
a guy who did a lot of charity work, Dave Winfield, even back in the 70s, was doing a lot of charity work. I remember hearing about him and his different foundations and things like that way back then. So I thought I'd
Yeah,
throw that in there too.
and Nate Colbert played his entire career when he was with the Padres
I
in
believe
that
so.
huge stadium. So it, you know,
Yeah, that's tough.
yeah. Oh, any other general news?
Well, yes, we lost Ed Kranepool. I don't know if you heard that, but
Yes.
Ed Kranepool passed away. 79 years old. He was a first baseman and an outfielder. I think of our friend, the New York Met fan, when this name came up, because when I think of the New York Mets, there's probably 10 names that come to my mind. I think of Tom Seaver and Darryl Strawberry and Gooden. But Ed Kranepool is one of those guys I think of when I think of the New York Mets. He was born in New York, so he's a hometown boy. 18 years, all with the New York Mets, and he had the longest tenure as a Met. Um,
And he was an original Met.
was he 60? So he came and
Yeah.
Casey Stengel and all those
Yeah.
guys. Wow. He was on the world championship team in '69. I remember seeing him running around, the footages of him running around when they were big underdogs to the Baltimore Orioles that year. And it was just out of nowhere. Here come the Mets, and they end up winning it in '69. That was pretty cool. The Miracle Mets. And in '73, they made it to the World Series, but lost to the Orioles. But I think he was 17 years old when he first came up to the big leagues. Can you imagine a 17-year-old playing with grown men in the major leagues? I just can't even imagine. It's me at 17 playing with those guys. I'd go home and just say, I don't want to play this game anymore. But what a career. One-time All-Star. Just played his whole career there, a 261 lifetime batting average. And I just wanted to everybody to remember Ed Kranepool. If you watch those old Met games on YouTube or whatever, yeah, he'll be over there at first base and was a very good player.
Yeah, I've done like crossword puzzles of baseball players with strange names. Ed Kranepool's always on there. John
Always
Walkenfuss is on there. Stuff like
Big
that. But
Big
yeah,
Pokeroba.
I don't that would probably be on there, but
Pogorova.
Ed Kranepool's on all of them, and John Walkenfuss. That's a good
John Walker.
crossword puzzle name.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Oh, so what's going on in the Cardinal world? Are you still hanging on by a string or a thread, or
Well, I am. I think the Cardinals are pretty much waving the white flag. I'm there until the final out. Until the fat lady sings, I'm there. Until the fat guy sings, I'm there. But apparently the Cardinals are moving in a different direction. Um, our transactions this week, we sit Kyle Leahy down. He's been one of these guys that's been up and down all year. And right now we brought Chris Roycroft up, who had been hurt. He's back up in the bullpen. And today the Cardinals sent down Victor Scott II because Siani is getting the lion's share of the playing time. And we brought up Thomas Sagis, which I'm very excited about. He's the kid we got in the Montgomery trade. He was minor league hitter. I think Double A won the batting title last year. They've described him as Donovan with power. He can play anywhere, and he's got he makes contact, and he's got more power than Donovan. And I think Donovan's a heck of a player. So we're going to get to see Sagis tonight, and I hear he's in the lineup. Wynn, they're going to give a day off because Wynn plays almost every single day. He's going to get a day off, and I think Sagis is going to go on at shortstop. Though I think second base is his primary position, but he's going to be playing shortstop tonight. So that's transactions. This week, it was a weird week. We had 2 days off. So as of last Tuesday, we were playing the Milwaukee Brewers, who beat us in game one, and we end up on Tuesday winning 7-4, and it was a 12-inning game, and it was a nail biter. It looked like we were going to win. It looked like they were going to win. It went back and forth. In the 11th inning, we score a run, they score a run, and then we end up scoring three in the top. It was in Milwaukee. We scored three in the top of the 12th, and then Helsley, who pitched 2 innings that day, just shut them down, and we end up getting the win. And anytime you beat the Brewers, the first place team, it's a victory. It's a victory anyway, but it's like, hey, we beat the Brewers, and they're trying to beat the crap out of us. Goldie got 3 hits. He hit his 21st home run, had 3 RBIs. Matt started the game. He looked okay. The bullpen went 7 1/3 innings and gave up no earned runs. Shout out to our bullpen doing a heck of a job. And Helsley got the win. He's now 7-4. And Siani almost won the game in the 11th. He made a diving catch, but he sort of did that scorpion move and the ball flicked out of his glove. And evidently, when you make a catch, to finish a catch, you got to put your hand in there and pull the ball out. Well, he slid, he caught it, but when he flipped over, the ball flipped out of his glove. So Siani has just played highlight play after highlight play. And I'm excited to have this kid on our team. And I'll take him at center field any day of the week. So we won the first game there. Wednesday, we win 3-2 in 10 innings. So 2 extra inning games, and we beat the Brewers in Milwaukee. Sonny Gray went 7 innings, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 7 Ks. He's got a 3.84 ERA for the year. That's a little higher than I thought he would, but he's had some ups and downs, but overall, he's done a very good job this year. I'm glad to have him on the team. JoJo Romero comes in and on the first pitch gives up a home run, and Sonny Gray loses the win. But like a pro, he's sitting there and cheered the team on. We come back and win, and Kittredge got the win, and Fernandez got his second save. Fernandez is a big piece of our bullpen. Instead of having the big three, we've got about a big five in our bullpen. So we win 2 out of 3 against Milwaukee. Hey, I'm happy about that. We're off on Thursday. We come home and we play Seattle. And let me tell you something. This is a pitching staff. There's no clunkers on the Seattle Mariner pitching staff. Now, they don't hit very well, but they can pitch. This is the best pitching I've seen all year, the Seattle Mariner team. And it's a 3-game sample size. So, don't crucify me there. But Friday, we lose 6-1, and Jordan Walker was the only run we got. He hit a home run. We only got 5 hits and 3 walks in that game. And Bryce Miller just looked fantastic. He's 11-8 with a 3.18 ERA. I'd love to have him on our team. He went 6 innings, no earned runs. Man, he looked like a fantastic. Saturday, though, we're playing Seattle, and we went 2-0. And this was a great pitcher's duel. They had Logan Gilbert pitching, and we had Kyle Gibson, and it was just nip and tuck the whole way. The Seattle team had us on the ropes more than we had them on the ropes. But in the eighth inning, Pages hit a two-run homer. We only had two hits in that whole game, and Pages got the hit, and Kyle Gibson kept us in that game, and we end up winning the game 2-0. And the bullpen again, fantastic. Kittredge got his fourth win, and Helsley got his 43rd save. And the final game of the series was Sunday, and we just got blown out. Michaelis looked terrible, terrible, and there's been more bad games than good games of late. I like Michaelis, but it's just not happening for him. Oh, probably the last 2.5 months, to be honest with you. And he gave up, I think it was 7 runs in the first 2 innings, and has just his ERA's near six, well, 5.5. He's 8-11, and they just beat us down. We had some offense. We got 9 hits, 4 runs, but not that wasn't a good enough pitching appearance for us there. So this week we went 3-3. Let's see, 2 wins there, 1-3, 3-2 on the week, which isn't good enough to catch the Brewers or the Mets or the Braves. So there we are. But I will say this. We've been stealing bases more, and we're going with the youth movement, it looks like. And a lot of our guys on our team are very young guys. And I'll just to name a few, Wynn, Scott, Burleson, Luca Baker's come up and look pretty darn good. Newtbar, Herrera, Walker, Ciani, O'Brien, Roycroft. So the future, I think, and we've already got more wins than we did last year, which is a very low bar, Vince. That's not saying a whole lot. We only won 71 games, but we're already past that. We still have 2.5 weeks to go. I'd like us to see, I believe we're a 500 team. I'd like us to see us get 82 wins. That would be nice. Have a winning season this year. But at this point, I just want to see these young guys come up, see what they got, maybe bring some of our young pitchers up, and let Lance Lynn recover. And we really I'd like to see him get out there and get some more starts or more appearances. But some of these guys that
pitch Sunday, the day before yesterday, I got to catch him pitching, um, and he looked pretty good.
oh, who's this now?
Matt's.
Yes, he's had 2 appearances, and he looked really good on that Sunday game. But some of these guys that I don't see us bringing back Gibson, Michaelis. I don't know if we could even trade him right now. And Lynn, I don't see them coming back next year. But I thought when we got him this year, that was what we were going to do with him.
Yeah.
Fill in, the young guys come up. We're going to have a lot of battles, and maybe make a trade or two in there, and maybe get one guy to go with Gray and Fetty, and more like a higher echelon starter right there, more in his prime instead of the end of his career. So
Now
that's it right now.
Is Michaelis got any more? Is this his last year?
No, I think he's got a year left on his contract. 1 year.
Yeah,
Matz has 1 year on his contract. Yeah, Lynn and Gibson, this we only signed him for 1 year. So Matz and Michaelis, Fetty, and Gray have some more years left on their contracts.
You want a bold prediction?
Yes, sir.
My bold prediction is this: the Cardinals go aggressively at Snell and Burns.
I would love to see Burns here.
And when I mean aggressively, they may get outbid, but they're going to put real money on the table for them.
Oh my God, if we got Burns. And there's a lot of money coming off the table too. We don't know if Goldie's going to be back. I know the Cardinals, we hang on to guys. Good or bad, we hang on to them. And legacy type of thing. And but I don't know if Goldie's going to be back, and there's going to be some other players not going. And Helsley's going to be, I think he's got 1 more year. I don't know. And he'll probably be the reliever of the year. And my friend Troy Lou, I'm sending you a send out. He always says, sell high, buy low. So if Helsley would be a big somebody we could get something for. Now, of course, you mentioned free agents right there, but I would love to have Corbin Burns. Oh, that would be so nice.
Yeah,
so that's it for Cardinal corner right there for me, anyway.
They've got to land someone because they cannot afford this kind of attendance drop.
Oh, yes.
And if they don't have a big acquisition during the off season, these attendance figures that we've seen in August and September, we're going to start seeing those in May and June for the Cardinals if they don't
Ooh.
do make a big splash. Sometimes you just have to do it for the fan base. And I see the Cardinals in that position. They just have to do it for the fan base.
I like
So
Palante. I think Palante could be a good fifth starter. He's come in and done a real good
I
job.
like
He's
them.
been our
Yeah.
best pitcher second half, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, in Cub news, Saturday, Kerry Wood and Aramis Ramirez were enshrined into the Cubby Hall of Fame. Very good. Uh, Two of my favorites.
Ah,
Always loved Kerry Wood, and Aramis Ramirez was one of those players. He played for Pittsburgh, put up good numbers, and I thought, okay, is he any good? And he came over, and yeah, he's really good. So,
he's real good.
um, um, Hall of very good, not quite the National Hall of Fame, but certainly deserving of the Cubs Hall of Fame. And the Yankees came into town, and it was the first time Anthony Rizzo had been back since he was traded. So that was pretty cool to see
Yeah.
Rizzo come back and see the video and everything, and all the players hugging him. And he uh, he did take time to go and visit the cancer patients in the hospital in Chicago because he still is very active in the fundraising scene with in Chicago for the cancer victims. So
Oh, that's
uh,
cool.
children's cancer, very very great guy. But the only transactions we had this week is Steele and Jorge Lopez are on the 15-day disabled list, which means they may come back the last week of the season. And Jack Neely and Trey Wingardner have been called up. Now, the Cubs are hanging on by a thread. They are 5 games out of a wild card spot, but in practical terms, they're 6 games out because the teams that are ahead of them all have the tiebreaker against them.
Ooh.
So that makes it a lot more difficult. But the second thing that makes it a lot more difficult is we have to bank on 2 teams, specifically the Mets and um, uh,
Is
the
it
Mets and the
Braves?
Braves. We specifically have to count on 2 teams to collapse while we get ultra hot again. And the chances of all that happening are very slim with what 19 games left.
Yeah.
But still, you have to have a reason to get up in the morning. So
That's right.
hang on by a thread. So last week we got off of an 8-1 uh, road trip, and we were scoring runs at an obscene.
It was phenomenal.
It was stupid. Well, we go home and we have to face Pittsburgh and the Yankees at home, and I'm telling you, we can't hit at home. Everybody's having trouble hitting at Wrigley this field. I talked about it last week how it is the number one pitcher park in the National League this year. The wind is never blowing out this year. It's always blowing in, and runs are hard to come by, and we actually cannot score at home. We can score a ton on the road, but we can't score at home.
I'll
So
be
after that
darned.
8-1 trip, we get home, and we start with the Pirates. And make sure I'm on my right. Yeah. Okay. So last Tuesday we faced the Pirates, second game of the series. We lost on Monday, and we lose to Pittsburgh 5-0. What are you going to do? We can't beat the Pirates at home. There's nothing to speak of offensively. Uh, Hendricks, I thought, threw good, 5 innings, only 2 runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. But when you don't score any runs, we only got 5 hits that game. What are you going to do? You're going to lose 5-0 to the Pirates.
Yeah.
So then Wednesday, we play Pittsburgh and we win 12-0. This is one of those few home games that we really put it together offensively. Not only did we win 12-0, but we had a combined no hitter. I'll get into that when I get to the pitching side of this game. So Swanson, PCA, and Bellinger all homered in that game. Swanson, Suzuki, Bellinger all had a couple of hits. Um, I mean, excuse me, Hap, Suzuki, and Bellinger all had a couple of hits. Swanson and PCA each had 3 hits. We were practically scoring at will. Um, uh, the only weird thing about that game is Ixop Paredes had 3 errors in that game. We still won 12-0 with a combined no hitter. That Paredes had his troubles defensively in that game. Imanaga pitched the first 7 innings, no hit ball, 7 strikeouts. Then Pearson came in, pitched a no hit inning, and then Porter Hodge came in. Probably wouldn't have usually pitched in a blowout, but we wanted to preserve this no hitter, so we brought in our closer.
Heck yeah.
And so Pittsburgh leaves. We're 1-1 for the week so far, and the Yankees come to town. And on Friday, we lose 3-0 because we decide we're not going to score because we're playing at home. Um, we got 1 hit, a single hit by Bellinger, and to go with 4 walks, and that was our offense. And Wicks pitched his second game since coming back from the 60-day IL. Pitched really good, 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs. He did walk 4. He had some issues with control, but you're trying to knock some rest off when you've been on the IL for 60 days rehabbing. So he lost. Okay, turn the page. Saturday, we play the Yankees, but we're playing in Wrigley. So guess what? We get shut out again.
Oh,
We've been
man.
shut out 3 times this week, and it
Ouch.
sucks. Guess how many games you win when you're shut out? You don't win any games when you're
You
shut
win.
out. So, we only got 4 hits that game, nothing to speak of offensively. Assad pitched 5 2/3 of an innings, only gave up 2 runs, one of them earned. So he pitched good, but he just got out pitched because we can't hit from home. So Sunday we're playing the Yankees, and we have our Sunday lineup. Used to be called the Sunday lineup. So
I
uh,
remember that.
I Max and I were texting back and forth. I said this looks like the white flag lineup, but we actually beat the Yankees 2-1 that game, and we beat Garrett Cole. Um, we only got 3 hits, but Itzhak Paredes hit a 2-run single, and that's all we needed. Tyone pitched 6 innings, only gave up 1 earned run, and Porter Hodge came in and got another save, his fourth. And he's got a 1.7 ERA, and his stuff is legit. If he can just keep the walks down, he's a legit closer, and I like his arm, and I like his makeup as a closer. So then last night we have to go to the evil empire of the West, Dodger Stadium.
Yes.
And of course, we're not in Wrigley, so we don't get shut out. We scored 10 runs. So we
What?
went 10-4 last night, and it was great. 2 players making a return back to Los Angeles, Bellinger and Bush, who played in the minors for the Dodgers, and they both homered against their former team. Bellinger had a couple of hits, 3 RBIs. Paredes had 2 more hits, drove in a run. Bush went 4 for 5 with 3 RBIs. Horner had a couple of hits. PCA had a couple of hits, and that was kind of fun to watch us beat up on the Dodgers, even though I think we
Always.
are only hanging on by a thread. Hendricks started that game, pitched 4 1/3, gave up 2 runs. But he had 4 walks. And at one time, I think it was the third inning, he walked Otani, Betts, and Freeman,
Oh.
all 3 in a row. Now, sometimes
Ooh.
he'll go 4 starts without walking 3 people. He walked those
Yeah.
3 in a row. The next hitter is Muncy with the bases loaded. Muncy hits a screaming line drive right to Bush. I thought, but
Oh.
Keegan Thompson actually got the win. So we went 3-3 for the week, which is pretty good, but it's not good enough in the position that we are in. Still 5 games out of the wild card, and like I already explained, I don't think we're going to make it. But hey, I'm enjoying watching the games. I
Same
really
here.
am. And it's like I always say. I will say it now. Even the White Sox fans have woken up 33 times this baseball season in a good mood. So um, that's what I like about baseball. You win, the next
Oh.
day everything's fine. Even if you don't win the World
Yes.
Series, if you don't make the playoffs, those wins you get during the season, it's like waking up. Oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna watch.
Even losing.
this game. Yeah.
Even losing is you get to watch baseball, and that makes me so happy because in the winter I would I'll watch a replay of a loss just to see the game again and enjoy the crack of the bat and the all that going on there. So I'd rather win. I want to go 162 and 0, and a game we lose, I carry it a lot longer than I do a win. But man, it's been a fun season, and we're us and the Cubs are right there together, and we're, I don't think we're great teams, but I don't think we're bad teams. We're right there in the middle, and I think we're on the way to being a better team even in the upcoming years.
Ditto. Do you know that there's only been one professional team that's won 162 and 0? And do you know who they were managed by?
Well, there's only one guy I'd want to manage my team, and that would be Mr. Jeremy Connor.
Jeremy Connor managed a team to 162 and 0. Comes a time in every man's life when he needs some advice on relationships. You need to listen to the podcast DMDR, which stands for Dating, Marriage, Divorce, Remarriage, from my good friend Jeremy Connor, the Dr. Phil of the Boot Hill. You can find DMDR on Spotify or whatever platform you choose to listen to your podcast. We are going to do a spotlights. I'm going to do Chuck Connors. Yes, that Chuck Connors. And,
the rival man?
Yeah, JJ is going to do Keith Hernandez. And I do want to say that next week will be our 100th episode. It's going to be a different format. We are not going to have all the stuff that we usually have. We're going to have a big forum, and we're just going to talk baseball with all these people. Give us about an hour and 10 minutes to just kind of talk about baseball. Nobody's team is in the playoffs, and I know this, so we can kind of change things up for 1 week, even though it's the end of the season, to celebrate our 100th episode. So just letting you know that. Jeremy, you're not Jeremy. Jeremy's busy making 180 and 0 baseball teams. So, JJ, you want to talk about Mr. Hernandez first?
Yes, I would love to talk about Keith Hernandez. I went to my first game, 1976, and I remember Luis Melendez was playing a lot that year, and it was a Sunday. It was Mother's Day, and he wasn't on the lineup. You were talking about Sunday lineups. Some guy named Keith Hernandez was in the lineup, and that was the year he started playing every day. And I'm going to go back and kind of introduce you to Keith Hernandez. I'm sure everyone our age knows him, but some of the younger people don't. Keith Hernandez, first baseman by trade, and I'll get more into that a little bit later. He was born October 20th, 1953. If you do the math, that makes him 70 years old. He'll turn 71 later this year. He played from 1974 to 1990, and he was drafted. Now, this is going to sound odd to some people, in the 42nd round. Drafts don't go that long anymore, and there's some real gems that used to be found in the later rounds. 42nd round in 1971, and he came right out of high school and went to the minor leagues. He came up as a 20-year-old in 1974 and got a few games in, a little playing time, but by 1976, he was the Cardinals' regular first baseman. And I just thought the world of him. If you see Keith Hernandez, when you see your first baseman these days, you see this big hulking guy or a great big tall guy. But Keith Hernandez was just a regular sized guy, had a sweet swing, played first base. And I'll be honest with you, in the 80s, when we had maybe the best defensive team I've ever seen, and I'm partial. I'm a Cardinal fan, and Whitey Herzog, I love him to death. But Keith Hernandez was a big part of that because those guys knew they threw over there. Keith was going to dig it out. Fantastic player. I think maybe the best defensive first baseman perhaps that ever played the game. But I got a postcard here, and this is probably about 1976. And there is a young Keith Hernandez right there. I'm going to try to, there he is in his Cardinal uniform.
Stash?
He was yet to have the stash. He's just a baby right there. We'll get to the stash in a minute because that's got some significance. So he becomes part of the Cardinal. He's a regular. And in the 70s, if people remember the Cardinals of the 70s, we were generally ran about third, fourth, and sometimes even fifth place. And it was the world of the Pirates and the Phillies. They just smacked us around. But 1979, Keith Hernandez put a heck of a season together. He actually was the MVP of the league, and I've got a picture of him, and it's the first time ever there was co-MVPs. Willie Stargell of the Pirates, and the Pirates go on to win the World Series that year in 19, the We Are Family team, and Keith Hernandez was the first baseman of the Cardinals. And if I can get, oh, there they are, co-MVPs, 1979 National League, and there they are holding the award together. But Stargell and Hernandez, and that year, it was like his come out year, 1979. 610 at bats, which means he played pretty much every day, 210 hits, 116 runs scored, 105 RBIs, 11 triples for a first baseman. That's phenomenal. Now they played on AstroTurf back then. 11 home runs. That's not very many home runs. Usually your home run hit, your first basemans are big bobbers, but Keith was never really a home run hitter. He'd hit a few. He had 48 doubles. I think the Cardinal record's like 54. So 48 doubles that year. Now, this is what I love about Keith, and at the end, I'll go over his walks to strikeouts. That year, he walked 80 times, 78 strikeouts. The guy just didn't strike out. He'd work pictures, he knocked the ball around, and he usually put it in play. His batting average that year was a cool 344, and he had 11 stolen bases. So Keith Hernandez, he led the league in doubles and runs that year, and he was a co-MVP. Everything looked like it was going well, but after the 83 season, we
download the Google Home app.
Oh, and I thought that was my wife. I was going to say, hey, sorry about that. Faith, she's wonderful. But in after the 83 season, we traded Keith Hernandez to the Mets. And Vince, as a young person, I was, what the heck's going on? The world's not up is down and down is up. What's happening here? I thought Keith Hernandez was going to be a lifetime Cardinal. There was rumors of things going on. I think Augie Busch wanted him off the team. Whitey Herzog ended up trading him up to the Mets, and we didn't get a whole lot for him. I think they were just trying to have him go on. And Whitey kind of took the high ground. He never said anything negative about Keith, to my knowledge. And he just said, and they got Neil Allen and Rick Omby. Both guys did play for us in the majors, but really weren't big impact players. And Keith Hernandez goes on to have a second half of his career that was phenomenal. 82, like I said, the Cardinals win the World Series, and he's a big part of it. He goes up to New York and is named the first captain of the New York Mets team because they said he partied hard and he played even harder. And Davey Johnson, who it's always like Whitey and Davey, and I like Davey Johnson, but he was a Met, so I had to hate Davey Johnson while he was on the Mets. But that was just a great, great rivalry, and Keith Hernandez was kind of at the center of it because he was our guy, and then he went up there and he was their guy now. So it was just a great rivalry having there. He played 7 years for the Mets. And my gosh, they were so good. And on paper, they should have won every year, but they didn't. They won the World Series in 86, and I thought that was the year Boston was going to break the curse, but there was some wild things that happened in that series, and the Mets ended up winning it. And he played 1 year in Cleveland. Now, his lifetime statistics, 2,182 hits. He had 162 home runs and over 1,000 RBIs and 1,000 runs scored. But over his career, Vince, he had 1,070 walks and 1,012 strikeouts and had a 296 batting average. I'll take that on my team any day. A lot of people talk about launch angels and home runs and RBIs, but this guy was on base, and you can't hit a 3-run homer unless you got somebody on base, and he just got on base. A phenomenal player. I loved him to death. 17 years he played, and he only grounded into 161 double plays. That's less than 10 a season. That's incredible. I was just looking at stats like that. He was 11-time Gold Glover. I talked about him being such a good defensive player, but on our team and the Met team, they could throw anything over there. If he could reach and get it, he got it. Hardly made any errors. 2-time Silver Slugger, won a batting title. But then, now that's his career, and that's quite a career right there. But then after his career, it even gets even more interesting. Keith Hernandez has written 5 books on baseball, and there's one a diary he kept, which I didn't know existed, of his first year with the New York Mets. And I think I want to get that book and read it. I think that would be very phenomenal because if you know the New York Mets in 1983 and 84 in there, they had a lot of characters on that team. So that would be, I would love to read that book and see what all was going on there. He was inducted into the Mets Hall of Fame in 1977, and they voted him the greatest first baseman in Mets history. Quite an accomplishment right there. He was inducted into the St. Louis Hall of Fame in 2021. And after that, the same year, the Mets retired his number. So no other New York Met will wear number 17. So I don't know if Keith is a Hall of Famer, but he's definitely a Met and Cardinal Hall of Famer. And if he went in the Hall of Fame, I don't know which team he'd go with. I don't know. It's up to him. He played more years with the Cardinals, but he had great statistics and great career with both teams. I don't think it'd be Cleveland, though. I don't think he'd go in as a Guardian. He was on 2 episodes of Seinfeld, which you probably know that, but he was also in the last season's finale. So he was on 3 episodes of Seinfeld. He was on an episode because he played in New York. I think he got more opportunities to do movies and TV shows. He was on Law and Order. He was in 2 movies, The Scout and The Yards, which I've never heard of The Yards, but he was in that
No,
movie. He made commercials with Walt Frazier for just for men hair coloring stuff. I don't know if you remember that.
I
That's pretty
do.
cool. You're pretty cool. That's pretty cool. He's been an announcer for the Mets with Gary Cohen and Ron Darling. And I tell you what, I love watching the Met games and listening to them do the games. I think they do a heck of a job calling the games. They're fun. They're familiar with each other. It's like listening to 3 friends talk about the game. So if you get a chance to do that, and Vince, you mentioned the mustache, and there he is with the mustache, 1979. So he had it early in his career. There's the mustache. He was the American Mustache Institute named him the best mustache in the sport for 1 year, and he has been called the 4th greatest mustache in the history of sports. So for all us mustachios out there, yes. So that's Keith Hernandez for you, and I have absolutely loved him. I loved him with the Mets. I wish he stayed a Cardinal. Some things aren't meant to be, but we have those great seasons with Keith, and he comes back every once in a while. I know he's very fond of the Mets, and he's fond of the Cardinals too, and I think that's fair. So I missed him, but those years he played here, it was so much fun. So that's it for my Keith Hernandez spotlight.
Yeah, a couple things. He was drafted so low because his senior year of high school, he didn't play baseball because he and the coach had a disagreement. That was one
Oh,
of the reasons why that was the reason why he went all the way down to the 42nd, 44th round or something like that.
yeah.
Second thing, he told a story, I think it was at Sports Illustrated. His rookie year, he was on the bench and um, Bob Gibson's talking to him. It's Gibson's last year, Hernandez's rookie year. Hernandez has to go pee, and he excuses himself, says, I need to use the restroom. He got back to the bench, and Gibson chewed him a new one for being
Really?
disrespectful. Keith Hernandez is not like Bob Gibson. Let's
No.
just put it that way. And Keith said that formulated how I treat younger players. And that's kind of a generational thing. In Gibson's era, you had a future Hall of Famer talking to you, you peed your pants. In other generations, it's like, yeah, go take a leak. I'll still
Yeah.
be on the bench. So,
I have to say I'm on Keith's side on that argument right there. I
yeah.
don't know the whole story, but that if that's everything that happened there, come on, Bob.
But that's the era Bob
That's the
Gibson
way it
was
was.
raised in. Because if Stan Musial was talking to Bob Gibson absolutely is not going to be. He's going to sit there and listen to it. So it's just a generational thing. So I'm going to talk about Chuck Connors. Yes, Chuck
Oh,
Connors, the rifleman. Um, a lot of people who are sports fans know that he did have a Major League Baseball playing career. A lot of people who are just Chuck Connors was rifling had no idea he played Major League Baseball, and he played most of his Major League games with the Chicago Cubs, which wasn't much, by the way. Chuck Connors was born April 10th in 1921 in Brooklyn, New York. His first name is Kevin, and he hated that name, so he started calling himself Chuck. Very good. He attended Seton Hall University, where he played both basketball and baseball for the school. He was very good at both sports. He left Seton Hall after 2 years and accepted a contract to play professional baseball. He played on two minor league teams in 44 and 42, all in the Dodger organization. He then joined the United States Army following America's entrance into World War II. And during most of the war, he served as a tank warfare instructor at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. And later, he went to West Point in New York to teach about tank warfare instruction. So this was not a stupid guy. This is a guy who was more valuable on home soil, and he wasn't getting preferential treatment for being an athlete because he was not a known athlete. Very smart guy, understood war strategy, and so that was his role in World War II. Following his time in the Army, he played for the Newport News Dodgers in the Piedmont League in 1946, the Mobile Bears in the Southern Association in 47, and the AAA affiliate, the Montreal Royals from 48 through 1950, and then the Los Angeles Angels, then at the Pacific Coast League in 51 and 52. So he had quite a long minor league career. Um, but a lot of people don't know this. In the 46-47 offseason, he joined the newly formed Boston Celtics of the NBA, and he played for 1 year, the 46-47 seasons with the Celtics. He's one of only 13 major league players who've also played in the NBA. He played 53 games for Boston before leaving the team early in the 47-48 season. In 1951, he joins the Cubs, and he played in 66 games as a first baseman and an occasional pinch hitter. And he did not have much pop. He really didn't have much of a career. He did make it to the majors, though, and he was sent to the minor leagues. But while playing in California in the Pacific Coast League, he stood out because he was a big guy. He's about 6'4", good-looking guy, and a very self-confident human being. And so he kind of made his way into the acting community. So when the Cubs told him in 53, you're not going to be with the team, we're going to send you to the minors, I think he played a little bit and then decided, I'm going to go out to Hollywood and see if I can make a living at that. And he did. His most famous role is playing Lucas McCain. Uh, he beat out 40 other actors who were better known than him as the lead in the TV series The Rifleman. And he was a widowed rancher, and he was known for his skill with his customized Winchester rifle. The ABC series ran for 6 seasons from 58 through 63. And it was the first show that had a widowed father raising a young child. And then, then it started happening. Andy Griffin come along, so.
Oh, that's true.
So for most of his career in Hollywood, he did like guest starring roles in TV shows. He was a character actor more or less. And then he did a lot of character acting in movies. And then later in his career, he kind of had a resurgence because he was in a weird, campy horror film called Tourist Trap. Have you ever seen it?
Thought I have. It sounds familiar.
Mannequins that
Okay.
dolls to life, yes. Um, and that's whenever I was growing up in the late 70s, that's when Tourist Trap, I think it was on like Showtime. And of
Okay.
course, I didn't have Showtime because my mom wasn't going to let me have something that showed boobs on TV. So I had to go to my friend's house. He said, you got to watch this movie on Showtime, Tourist Trap. So I went to watch it. And Chuck Connors is so creepy in it. And I remember watching it halfway through it. I said to my friend Terry, "That's the Rifleman." So, um, he continued to act up until the to the 90s, early 90s, and he died on November 10th, 1992. Had a great life. Um, a military tactician, an athlete in two professional sports, and a Hollywood actor who made a good living. And I, I kind of like every time you read something on Chuck Connors, a former Los Angeles Dodger turned actor Chuck Connors.
No Cub love.
No, even though he played the vast majority of his major league games, only like 70 games with the Chicago Cubs. So anyway, that's my spotlight on Chuck Connors, and love me some Chuck, love me some Tourist Trap.
I have a Chuck Connor story, just a little one. I work at the VA, and the veterans in the waiting room, when I have to go out and get them and bring them back, they're watching Gunsmoke and Rawhide and the Rifleman. So I see Chuck Connors acting every Monday through Friday right there in the waiting room, you know. So I see him a lot. And
He's still
that's,
with us.
yeah,
Well,
he's still with us.
so,
Reruns.
JJ, I bought one of these packs that has 29 cards in it.
Oh, yes.
So I
Okay.
am going to go through half of them today and then the other half in 2 weeks because next week we'll be doing our panel thing. So I have tops, and this is the uh, what year is this? This is an old pack.
This is an old pack. I remember those packs. I don't know what year that is. Well, Vince, I've got 1991 tops. Look at that. Look at that those
Ooh,
old top packs there. And I'm in the same boat you are. I've got one of those thick, probably, I don't know, 35 cards. So I'm going to do about half of my cards too today.
okay. I have these are 89, and these are absolutely split down the middle by what? Nuclear gum.
Oh, yes. The world famous gum.
Uh, I'll go ahead and go first, being I've already showed you
Please.
my gum.
I'm
And
going to say two Hall of Famers. Two Hall
I'll
of Famers.
say one.
All right.
Okay. Oh, first, former Cub, former Royal, former Oakland A, Willie Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
I
Speed
think
Demon.
has over 600 career stolen bases.
Woo.
Wow, what a guy.
Very good player.
Oh, and we have David Bell's father, Buddy Bell, former
Buddy
All-Star third
Bell.
baseman.
Three
Uh,
generations of Bells.
Indians, Rangers, Reds, Astros. Yeah. Uh, Former right fielder for the Tigers, also played on that Royals team that beat the Cardinals in the World Series as their fourth outfielder, Pat Sheridan.
Yes, Pat Sheridan. Nice little career.
Record breaker 1988.
Hmm.
Uh, so this is a Hall of Famer. I'll count it. Boggs gets 200 hits for his sixth straight season.
Oh, wow. Eating that chicken, drinking that beer.
Eating the chicken, drinking the beer. Yeah. Former Pirates pitcher, also pitched for the Dodgers, Jim Gott.
Oh, yeah. There he is.
Oh, this was a number one draft pick from the University of Michigan. Went on to play for the Yankees and the Angels and pitched a no hitter. Jim Abbott.
Jim Abbott. Yes. Nice career.
You are correct. We have two All Stars in this half of the pack. I
Yeah.
don't know if you've heard of this guy, former shortstop for the Cardinals, Osborne Smith.
The Wizard. Oh, yes. Ozzy.
Former Twins pitching Alan Anderson, and I'm pretty sure one year he won an ERA title. He
Oh,
did in 88 with the Twins, a 2.45 ERA. Alan
Vince,
Anderson.
very good. I didn't know that. Very good.
Oh, and this guy is known for parting the waters for the Twins, John Moses.
Yes. I'll throw the tablets at you.
Oh, not quite a Hall of Famer, but you've got to admit his 88 season was one of the greats of all time. Record breaker Oral Hershiser pitches 59 consecutive scoreless innings.
The Bulldog. Oh,
There.
yeah.
Oh, we had this guy last week, former Royals pitcher, Angels pitcher, current Angels commentator, Mark Gubiza.
Oh, yeah. Good player. Man, he can pitch.
Former Dodger, former Pirate, former Yankee, Rick Rhoden. He had a good career.
Oh, yeah. I always think of him as a pirate,
Uh,
mainly.
one of the great pitchers from St. Louis. I'm trying to started his career with the Cardinals, Pirates, Dodgers, then bounced around towards the end. The guy with blonde hair, Jerry Rolls Royce.
Oh, yeah. He played with a lot of teams. Pirates, Cardinals. Yeah.
Third Hall of Famer,
Woo!
National League All-Star catcher, Gary Camera Carter.
The kid.
Yeah, and this is what that gum will do on the back of a card after 30 years.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I don't think that would be one of the, how do they grade cards like, don't they have
Oh,
grades?
oh, yeah. They look under a microscope. They look for the edges, the color. Is it centered? Is the ink evenly distributed? Can you read the back of the card? All that stuff.
So this would not be one of their high grades.
No, no, yeah, I know.
I quit.
Well, let's see here. I have, of course, this is 1991. Seems like I got a lot of cards from that year. Uh, Philadelphia Philly pitcher Pat Combs. Remember old
Pat
Pat
Combs.
Combs?
I'm gonna say you got two Hall of Famers.
All right, I'm doing the opposite of you. I'm doing one. I'm going to say
All
one.
right.
All right.
Pat
So
Combs.
Pat
And what year was
Combs.
he inducted into the Hall of Fame?
I don't remember that happening. Maybe he's in the Phillies or his high school Hall of Fame. I bet he's in his high school
Maybe the Hair Care Hall of Fame. Pat
Hall of Fame.
Combs.
Boom! Yeah, that came. You brought that
I'm a
back around.
professional comedian.
There you go. Good picture here. Boston Red Sox John Dobson. John
Oh,
Dobson right
okay.
there.
Remember him?
Looks like he's ready for business right there. Oh, Detroit Tiger, Tony Phillips. Right there. I like
Ah,
that picture of him. Yeah, good player.
very good career. Played a long time, man.
Yeah, Oakland A's. Played with the A's as well. Let's see here. Oh, we got a first Hall of Famer, Vince. Atlanta Brave, Tom Glavine.
Tom.
Tom Glavine. I tell you what, it was so much fun watching him. Man, the Smoltz and Maddox and him with the Braves. Golly, that was incredible. Baltimore Orioles Steve Finley had a long career.
The
Yeah.
pride of SIU,
Look
Southern Illinois
at you,
University.
man. You know your SIU stuff right there. Oh
And
no,
it's
you
like the
keep
third
going.
third week in a row we've had him. It's like he keeps.
Has he? Yeah, I think he's giving us money on the side to push his cards out here.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see. This is Houston Astro Mark Portugal, right
Yeah.
there pitching.
Yeah.
Right
He
there.
pitched right next to Spain.
This is a Dodger, Mike Hartley. A lot of Dodger pitchers, and
Don't
I
remember
remember
him.
Hartley. You don't remember Hartley? I remember the name.
You remember Nina Hartley, the adult video star? That's who you remember.
I do remember Nina Hartley. Yes. I forgot that's who that was. I knew the name.
She is in the movie.
I thought she was in. I thought she was in those. Film commercials for the films for your camera with James Gardner. Remember, there was a Hartley lady that used to do film commercials with James Gardner. I can't think of her name though.
Yeah,
but it's not. It's not Nina Hartley though.
No, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's
James
who I
Gardner
was
did
thinking.
the Kodak commercials.
Yes. All right. Man, when's the last time we brought up her name? But anyway, I'll find that out for next week. Baltimore Oriole, Sam Horn. Right there. Sam Horn. Let's see. Oh, okay. This guy's up there for the voting on Hall of Fame and everything. Montreal Expo, Tim Raines, but if you look closely, it says Rock. Rock Raines on the card.
Isn't he in now?
I don't know.
I think let me look this up.
Yeah, please look that up. But there he is right there, putting it on there. He had a long career. I know he was up there for the finalist a few times, but I don't know. I don't remember his Hall of Fame induction speech or anything. But he definitely had a great career. I'm going to go on while you're looking. I have Chicago White Sox manager Jeff Torborg.
Oh
Jeff
yeah,
Torborg right there. And happier
his
days for the White Sox.
his son was a professional wrestler.
Oh, you know what? Yes.
He wrestled as the Demon, the Kiss character in the last days of WCW.
Look at you. I I tip my cap. I pride myself on my wrestling knowledge. And once you said that, it sounded vaguely familiar, but I would never came up with that character.
Yeah, yeah, that's your second Hall of Famer, 2017,
Tim
on the 10th
Raines.
ballot. He made it.
Yeah, on the 10th ballot. Well, I'm sorry, Tim Raines, that I besmirched your name, but congratulations if it's a few years late for me. All right. Michael Lacrosse from the San Francisco Giants. Right
Yeah,
there.
pitched for the
Caught the
Reds too.
Yeah, yes, very good career. Caught the ball in flight on that one. Another Hall of Famer, Alan Trammell.
Three, very
Three,
good.
very good. Alan Trammell. Jim Eisenreich, nice career. Phillies, Royals,
Phillies, Royals, Twins, and had Tourette's.
and I would have had him play. I would love to have him on my team. He was a very good player. Uh, Milwaukee Brewer, Tom Eden, and I thought you were going to do some pun with his name or something right there, Vince. Oh, here's a name for you. Chicago Cub player, outfielder Dave Clark.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Dave Clark. I don't remember Dave Clark except Dave Clark 5, of
he
course.
didn't have much of a career.
Um, St. Louis Cardinal, Craig Wilson, same kind of thing. He's a
Yeah,
juggler as well.
yeah. I saw. He's doing a circus tour right now. I saw him.
All right, I got a few more cards here. Uh, Joe Orzelak, Baltimore Orioles. Remember that
Oh
name?
yeah, I remember
Yeah,
him.
nice player. And oh, I've met this guy. Here he is with the Yankees, Dave LaPointe,
Oh
on
yeah,
the part of the '82 Cardinals.
Giants, Cardinals,
And here's my
Brewers.
last one. And I forgot this guy played here, but it's Oakland A. Willie Randolph. I
Yeah,
forgot Willie played with the
that
Oakland
stint
team.
with the athletics was not well known. So
Yeah, it was at the end of his career. You always think of him as a Yankee. So that's my cards this week. 91 tops, 40th anniversary.
you had three Hall of Famers. I had three Hall of Famers.
Good week.
Very good week. We will take that. So, well, everybody, we will see you next week. Remember, we're just going to have a large panel. We're just going to kick around some baseball, and it's either going to be really good or it's going to suck. There's going to be no in between. So, I like the guest, and I think we will have a very fun show.
It's going to be a good time.
All right. Well, you all have a great one, and we will see you next week.